that would drag on for nearly 50 years.
Whoa! We are back again with another Epic History TV, History of Russia, Catherine the Great. I looked forward to this in my last reaction. If you haven't checked that out, check it out. Let's see how great Catherine the Great is.
In the early 1700s, Peter the Great's reforms put Russia on the path to becoming a great European...
Wait a minute. Let's continue. Alright, now I can hear
but it
properly.
was his grandson's German wife, Catherine, who deposed her husband to become Empress of Russia, who oversaw the completion of that transformation. Like Peter, she too would be remembered as the Great.
Catherine the Great. In my last reaction, I said that she deserved to... I said in my last reaction that she deserved a spot in hell because of what she did, overthrowing her husband. But hey, let's see what she does.
Catherine was a student and admirer of the French Enlightenment.
Alright.
And even corresponded with the French philosopher Voltaire. She reigned as an enlightened autocrat. Her power was unchecked, but she pursued ideals of reason, tolerance, and progress. Catherine...
Biggest irony of it all, right, is that her power was unchecked, but she's an Enlightenment supporter, man. I mean, the irony, man. Freaking hell. You know, it makes you wonder, like, has Russia really changed today? Russia is basically just like a monarchy in a different name of sorts. Like, it's an oligarchy, I know. America is technically an oligarchy as well. But still, Russia is just... I don't think democracy could ever work in Russia, but let's continue.
And became a great patron of the arts and learning. Schools and colleges were built. The Bolshoi Theatre was founded, as well as the Imperial Academy of Fine Arts.
Wait, Bolshoi Theatre? Doesn't that literally translate to big theater in English? Doesn't that... What? Bolshoi Theatre? It just means big theater. What? You could have given it a better name, Catherine. Bloody hell, man.
While her own magnificent collection of artwork now forms the basis of the world-famous Hermitage Museum.
Whoa, what?
Catherine encouraged Europeans to move to Russia to share their expertise, and helped German migrants to settle in the Volga region, where they became known as...
Oh, so that's the origins of the Volga Germans. Oh, I've heard of these guys. Oh.
Volga Germans. Their communities survived nearly 200 years, until on Stalin's orders, they were deported east at the start of World War II. Catherine's reign also saw enormous territorial expansion. In the south, Russia defeated the Ottoman Empire, winning new lands and the fortresses of Azov and Kerch. But then Catherine faced a major peasant revolt, led by the renegade Cossack Yemelyan Pugachev. The rebels took...
Okay, so, I read my comments in my last reaction to the Russian series, and someone noted how the Cossacks did not have any nationality. I'm not really gonna read the whole comment because it was like a long comment, but I still read all my comments. And he said that the Cossacks, they were like, they came from anywhere, basically, right? So, because I said that in my last reaction that the Cossacks, like, I didn't say that this was true, but I just said that I heard that Ukrainians claim that this is their origin, that they came from the Cossacks. One of the comments that I read in my last videos noted how that the land of now, which is the Ukraine today, it was just a borderland. It wasn't like anything special. It was just like the borderland, and that name just simply like stayed over, which makes sense. I already said that personally. I believe that Ukrainians and Russians, they're all Rus. They're all Rus in my personal opinion. but I don't think they're like completely the same. You know how you have like Germans and Austrians? That's how I view Ukrainians and Russians, right? Because they had like intertwined history, yes, but after the first Rus state fell apart, their history kind of sort of diverged-ish. Let's continue.
Many fortresses and towns, and stormed the city of Kazan before they were finally defeated by the Russian army.
Dude, I want to visit Russia one day. I want to visit Russia. Bro, Russians are such lovely people, bro. I remember like one day I was like at work and freaking hell, I saw a Russian dude and it like freaking like got me like excited a bit. Cause like I just kept on running into like Ukrainians and freaking Polish people and whatnot. And I told him that, oh yeah, I want to visit Russia one day. Russia is like a very interesting place. It's the largest country in the world. Like, how could I not want to explore that place? And he like gave me like a basically like a summary of where I should go and like where I should not go, because you know, like I'm black. Although Russians are very, they don't really care about black people. So I do know that Russians don't care about black people at all. And even then, I'm like light skin. Like my lighting is terrible. Eventually, I'm gonna fix this whole lighting. I will get a professional setup in the future. In a couple of months, actually. I gotta make a whole video on that, explaining that whole thing. But, whoa, if you stay around on my YouTube channel, eventually you will see me with my proper setup, and you will see that I am truly light skinned without proper lighting and whatnot. But yeah, he was telling me about that. I wanted to visit Vladivostok, Moscow, sure, I guess. I don't know. Check out Red Square, but I want to like check out these other more historical cities like St. Petersburg, Kazan, because I keep hearing about that, Vladivostok, and whatnot. Moscow, I think Moscow is too cliche. I know there's this saying in Russia that, Moskva ni Россия. Moscow isn't Russia, basically. Yeah, so yes, Moscow is on my list, but, you know, I want to like see like Russia proper, you know, like, not just Moscow, because Moscow is a whole different world, you know what I mean?
Catherine then forcibly incorporated the Zaporozhian Cossacks into the Russian Empire and annexed the Crimean Khanate, a thorn in Russia's side for 300 years.
Okay, 1783. I gotta remember these years,
Russia's
man.
new lands in the south were named Novorossiya, New Russia. Sparsely populated, they were settled by Russian colonists under the supervision of Prince Potemkin, Catherine's advisor and lover.
Oh, okay, lover. All right.
The Polish-Lithuanian.
Okay, so Novo Rossiya. All right, so is this kind of like sort of the origins of Ukraine? Again, I read my comments in the last video, and many people, I think they were Russians who explained this to me. They explained that the term Ukraine, and I heard this before this anyways, they said that the term Ukraine didn't really come around until the 20th century, 19th century. They said before that, someone in my last comments, I gotta reread that comment, but I think they said that, the name Ukraine, Ukraina, they literally broke down the name. They said like, U means at. Like, I gotta reread that comment, man. Bloody hell. But basically, they were basically, I can't speak. They were basically saying that the name Ukraina literally just translates to at the border, right? They were saying that Ukrainian, Ukraina, that wasn't like a group of people. That was just the name of the borderland, because this right here was the border between Russia and the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. So, no, don't get me wrong. That is true, but Ukrainians, again, I consider them to be Rus as well. They call themselves Ruthenians, right? Which is basically the same thing as, Russian. Rusin, because there's a group of people that call themselves Rusin. Same thing. Let's continue.
Commonwealth.
If you disagree with me, just tell me in the comments. I read all my comments, even if it's long.
Exhausted by war and at the mercy of its neighbors, was carved up in a series of partitions, with Russia taking the lion's share.
Oh my god, I tried to understand the partition of Poland so well. I maybe gotta react to some videos about this to like understand this, bro. But like, how in the world did Poland get partitioned? Like, I know that there was like, if Poland, like the government was very unstable. There's hardly any stability, anything proper like that. Like I know that like outside forces influence inside forces to freaking eventually just carve up Poland, but I don't really fully understand that. So I don't know, man. Maybe one day I'll react to that.
Poland did not re-emerge as an independent nation until 1918. Russia inherited a large Jewish population from Poland, who Catherine decreed could live only in the so-called Pale of Settlement, and were excluded from most cities.
Oh, wow. Was that supposed to be a bad thing?
The French Revolution led to the execution of King Louis XVI.
All right.
Catherine was horrified, and in the last years of her reign, completely turned her back on the liberal idealism of her youth. 3 years
I can
later,
only imagine.
Catherine died, ending one of the most glorious reigns in Russian history. She was succeeded by her son, Paul, a man obsessed by military discipline and detail, and opposed to all his mother's works. Russia joined the coalition of European powers, fighting revolutionary France. Marshal Suvorov, one of Russia's greatest military commanders, won a series of victories against the French in northern Italy.
Oh, I am currently reacting to the Napoleonic Wars in chronological order. If you haven't checked it out, go and check it out. I think in one of my reactions, I didn't even realize that Russia was fighting in Italy in 1799 and in the first and second coalitions. Man, I thought Russia like joined in late. I was very wrong about that. Let's continue, shall we?
Wider war was a failure. Meanwhile, Paul's reforms had alienated Russia's army and nobility, and he was murdered in a palace coup. He was succeeded by his 23-year-old son Alexander, who shared his grandmother Catherine's vision for a more modern Russian state.
Alexander, I've heard about this guy. I've heard a lot about this guy. This guy, basically, I heard that this guy always loved to feel himself, if that makes sense.
His advisor, the brilliant Count Mikhail Speransky, reformed administration and finance. Yet the emperor refused to back his plans for a liberal constitution.
Yikes, man. Yikes. Bro, Russians, man. Like, that's all that they've wanted. Just a bit more. I mean, come on. Russians today are the freest people that they've ever been. Like, you don't criticize the government in Russia and you're A-okay. That's it. You don't criticize the government and you're fine. And besides, who cares about what the government does? Am I right? Well, unless you have to go and do a special military operation. Honestly, the whole situation with Russia and freaking Ukraine, dude, I'm not really gonna talk about that here. But all I'm saying is that Russians have been trying just to get, that taste of freedom, the taste of liberty, even though they're kind of technically free. What I find funny is that Russia doesn't even have the death penalty. The death penalty is outlawed in Russia, but in the United States, they still have the death penalty. Very interesting. Let's continue.
It was war with France that would dominate Alexander's reign.
Oh yeah, that's all I know this guy about. The Napoleonic Wars. Let's hope I don't get spoiled because I'm reacting to this in chronological order.
France had a new emperor, Napoleon Bonaparte, who inflicted a series of defeats on Russia and her allies. At
I just reacted to the Battle of Eylau yesterday. Craziest battle that I have seen. The Russians gave Napoleon hell in that battle. I'm surprised Napoleon even won that battle. Granted, the weather was on the Russian side. So I don't know, maybe if it was on equal ground, good season, Napoleon would have steamrolled the Russians, but still the Russians gave Napoleon hell. That battle was crazy. The craziest battle of the Napoleonic Wars that I have reacted to, man. Like the Russians, Russian people are so tenacious, man. That's why I respect Russian people so much. I even said in my video, I have a bit of a bias to Russian people.
Eylau and Friedland.
I gotta react to this next. Battle of Friedland in my Napoleonic Wars chronological order series, man. Check out that series. It's so good.
But at Tilsit in 1807, the two young emperors met and made an alliance. Russia attacked Sweden, annexing Finland, which became an autonomous Grand Duchy within the Russian Empire. But then, in 1812, Napoleon invaded Russia. At Borodino, French and Russian armies clashed in a gigantic battle, one of the bloodiest of the age.
Really? Don't spoil me.
Napoleon emerged victorious, but the Russian army escaped intact. Napoleon occupied Moscow, which was destroyed by fire. And when Alexander refused to negotiate, the French army was forced to make a long retreat through the Russian winter, and was annihilated.
Napoleon. Napoleon. You know what? I was gonna say something, but I'm gonna save that to my Napoleonic Wars reaction series. I'm not gonna say that here.
Napoleon had been dealt a mortal blow, and Russia, alongside Prussia, Austria, and Britain, then led the fight back, which ended in the capture of Paris and Napoleon's abdication. At the Congress of Vienna, as part of the spoils of war, Alexander became King of Poland.
King of Poland, but then, Poland isn't an independent country. Somebody please explain this to me, right? Because Poland isn't an independent country. Poland, I know Poland is more autonomous and whatnot, but wouldn't that technically mean that Poland is like his own separate like nation of sorts if he is the king of Poland, right? Because Poland isn't a part of Russia. So him being king of Poland is saying that the two are distinct entities, right? It's like how in my country, Barbados, when we had the monarchy, and even then the other Commonwealth realms who share the same monarch as Britain, our mother country, back when Barbados used to share the monarchy with Britain, which was Queen Elizabeth II, we were our own distinct countries. We were in a personal union, but we were our own distinct legal entity. So wouldn't that technically mean that Poland was a legal entity, right? I don't know. Maybe the constitution was different. I don't know. Someone please explain that to me. I never understood how that logic worked.
In Prussia, he formed the Holy Alliance, with the aim of preventing further revolutions in Europe. Meanwhile, in the Balkans and Caucasus, Russia had been waging intermittent wars against the Ottoman Empire, Persia, and local tribes. The frontier had been pushed south to incorporate Bessarabia, Circassia, Chechnya, and much of modern Georgia, Dagestan, Azerbaijan, and Armenia. But the peoples of the Caucasus bitterly resisted Russian rule.
And they're still resisting Russian rule to this day. I think the Caucasus is like the only region that is still kind of sort of unstable-ish. I want to say unstable because you can visit there, sort of, and you'll have a very, it was not like a bad time, but a very tense time, I guess. I watched someone visit one of these regions. Was it Chechnya? I think it was Chechnya. It was either Chechnya or Dagestan. a lovely Russian YouTuber who goes around exploring Russia, showing the whole world that, hey, Russia isn't this country that the West loves to paint it out to be. Very lovely YouTuber. Forgot her name. I think her name was like Ella from Russia or something like that. But yeah, I think this part of Russia is like the most unstable compared to like the other parts of the Russian Federation today. But besides that, I think Russia is more or less stable. Granted, it's a police state, but just because a police, like, not all police states are bad. Like, police states can work.
Russia's attempt to impose its authority on the region led to the Caucasian War.
Oh, I never heard of
Brutal
this.
conflict fought amongst the mountains and forests that would drag on for nearly 50 years.
Whoa! Holy crap. Damn, 50 years. That's crazy. Wow.
Alexander was succeeded by his brother Nicholas, a conservative and reactionary. But parts of Russian society had now developed an appetite for European-style liberalism, including...
Okay, I don't understand why he's saying European style. But Russia is a part of Europe too. Like, saying European... No. Like, I'm seeing like morons who are saying that, oh, Russia isn't a part of Europe. Yes, it is. Like, epic history, this is an old video, granted. So, but still, man, like, we got people saying, oh, Russia isn't a part of Europe. Russia is excluded from Europe. Like, be quiet. You sound dumb. Russia has always been a part of Europe. It originated from Europe because Russia originated as Muscovy. But it'll always be European. like, no, man. Let's continue.
Certain army officers who'd seen other ways of doing things during the Napoleonic Wars. They saw Nicholas as an obstacle, and the new emperor's first challenge would be military revolt. Epic History TV wrote...
Military revolt. Okay, so that was another good Russia reaction. Hell yeah. Hell freaking yeah. Freaking hell. Check out these videos that are appearing on your screen. Oh, my brain just died. Check out my other Russian reactions if you haven't already. Check out my other Epic History TV reactions, and thank you for watching.